I saw Dire Straits play in 1986, Auckland, New Zealand, Mount Smart Stadium, on the opening leg of their Australasian tour for Brothers in Arms. And when Mark Knopfler got to this bit, my face started doing something I still to this day cannot explain. Hey, it's Owen here, and this is Solos That Rule. Today, we're looking at the outro solo from Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. That epic fast run, a Strat with its pickup selector switch jammed in between the middle and bridge positions, and a Fender Twin turned up just loud enough to change guitar history. I'm going to break down 3 amazing licks from this solo, and spoiler alert, if you try to use a pick, it's not going to work. The solo actually starts by playing the rhythm part. And then a nice little slide into a simple 4-note pattern, followed up by a whole step bend. Now before we go any further, we've got to talk about Mark Knopfler's picking, which doesn't use a pick. He uses a combination of his thumb and his index finger. The thumb's extended out to pluck downwards on the string, and the index finger curls up to pluck the string. He also gets this amazing staccato effect, or a cut-off kind of a note, by playing the thumb and the index finger on the same string. This is an absolutely classic rock and roll lick. I would call it a Chuck Berry lick because he's the one that made it famous. There's a really nice variation at the end of this lick, which makes it sound very Mark Knopfler. Gives it a really melodic twist. The amp tone from the original recording comes from a Fender Twin, which is a notoriously loud amp. Mark Knopfler gets an incredibly clean tone, so I'm guessing he just had it dialed into the right volume to just get a tiniest bit of overdrive, but still really cut through the mix. This is the lick that we all came here for. This is the moment my face left the building in 1986 when I saw it live. A cascading lick across 2 strings, which I'm sure back in those days, Eddie Van Halen would have been very interested in hearing. As I said before, this solo is played without a pick. But what would this run sound like if you did use a pick? You're just not good at all. Using the thumb and the index finger really gives that snappy attack. Let's get up close and I'll show you the 3 patterns that you need to play. All these patterns are just 3 notes repeated. Let's have a close look at how the thumb and the index finger is used in this pattern. So the first note, thumb. And we're doing a pull off from the 13th to the 10th fret. The next note on the B string is also played with your thumb. And then at the 10th fret on the high E, pluck that with your index finger. So we got thumb, pull off, thumb, index finger. This is the way that I play it. Pretty sure this is the way that Mark Knopfler plays it as well. If you know different, tell me down in the comments. So that's the first shape that we're playing. The second shape has just 1 note difference. I'll play the first pattern and then the second one. So you see on the B string we went from the 10th fret to playing the 11th fret. The third pattern is the same as that second pattern, but up 2 frets. So 3 shapes again. So the whole run put together slowly looks like this. And then repeat the whole thing again with just a couple of slight variations, but check out the tab for that. Mark Knopfler's 1961 Fender Stratocaster that was used on the original recording of Sultans of Swing left the factory with a 3-way selector switch. Now in those days you could have bridge, middle, or neck pickup. The other thing about this tone which really makes it sound amazing is the use of the in-between position of the middle and bridge pickups. Knopfler worked out that you could get a real quack or a glassy chirp by putting the pickup selector switch between the bridge and middle position. There's actually a quote in a guitar magazine that I read once where he said he thinks he's responsible for DiMarzio selling a lot of 5-way pickup selector switches. This solo is so good that I can't just leave you with 3 iconic licks. I've got to show you that really cool banjo roll lick. This is another one where you really got to pay attention to where the thumb and the index finger gets used. Index finger, thumb, pull off, thumb. So that's the outro solo from Sultans of Swing. Perfectly executed and placed bends, melodic phrases that you can sing in your head, and an incredibly memorable run that only works if you throw your pick away. And all of that through a Fender Twin on a Strat whose secret tone was unlocked by jamming the pickup selector switch in between the bridge and middle positions. Once you've got this solo mastered, go check out the Alchemy live version. Same song, but in a completely different universe. The solo stretches out for minutes and Mark Knopfler barely breaks a sweat. So I probably didn't need that headband after all. Thank you for watching along today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out more solos that rule, there's a playlist right over there. See you in the next one. I call it that because Chuck Jerry? Who's Chuck Jerry? Now I've got to find my pick, which I threw somewhere.